Hello, and welcome to Simonheals. I am Simon. So, yesterday I was giving a couple of chakra balancing treatments to guests here at Anahata retreat in Koh Samui, and oftentimes as part of the session, I will spend 5, maybe 10 minutes at the beginning of the session, just really sharing some of what I understand about chakras to help give the clients some kind of understanding, of what's going to be happening in the session and why it's important, why it's relevant, why it's important that we do this. And when I give this information, I've already started the treatment, so I'm very much in that zone, that energy of healing. So the information that comes through is almost like in a channeled way, and I don't really know exactly what I'm going to say. But it just kind of comes through. So at the time I thought, this would be actually a really good video to make, because I think this information would be very interesting for many people. And so here I am doing the video. And as often is the case when I do these videos, I wish that kind of channeled information comes through, because I don't really prepare. I don't prepare kind of scripts or anything. So please bear with me. Let's see what is going to come through. So there's really so much information I could share about the chakras. As a Reiki Master teacher, it's a big part of the Reiki course, particularly Reiki Level 1. And at Reiki Level 1, I will spend a minimum of 1 hour on the chakras. And even that doesn't really fully do justice. And I intend to keep this video to under about 15 minutes. So let's see how I do. So I think, if you're watching this, and if you've been watching any of my earlier videos, I think we all have an understanding that at some level everything is energy, and that within that energy of all that is, we are energy. And that although we experience ourselves as separate within that, that ultimately we are connected to the energy of all that is. And the metaphor that I often use is similar to a candle. So if you were to light a candle and you look at the light that seems to emanate from that candle, for sure it would appear that there's an edge to that light. And maybe to my eyes, that edge is closer or further away from the physical camera than it is, say, to your eyes, depending on our eyesight and, our kind of subjective experience of the candle. But realistically and ultimately, there is no line where the light of the candle finishes and the light of the room that the candle's in finishes, and then beyond that is really the light of the whole universe, the multiverse and beyond. So that as a metaphor, I think really captures us as energetic beings. So yes, we can talk about our energy. Each of us has our energy, and if you have the vision to see it, or maybe some Kirlian camera or something like that, you might be able to see the energy field around a person and say, right, the energy field of this person is so big, it's such and such a color, or whatever. But again, just as with the candle, there's no real edge to that energy field, and that energy merges with and becomes the energy of all that is. And that's why we can say spiritually that we're all one and we're all connected, because we are. There is no, at an energetic level, there is no separation between you and I. And I mean that literally as well. So you watching this, wherever you are, I'm in Thailand here, you may be another part of the world, but energetically we are one. There's absolutely no disconnect between us, which is why we can do distant healing. And I'm sure I will be doing a video at some point on distant healing, and maybe we'll do a group healing. So yeah, we're energy, and these things, these physical bodies, are really the densest manifestation of that energy. So when the frequency of that energy reaches a certain vibration, a certain frequency, it starts to solidify. It starts to become what we call real or tangible, and starts to exist in the third dimension. And that's one of the things that makes us very unique as beings, is that we're multidimensional. There are aspects of self that are non-physical, and for that, just consider your thoughts, consider your emotions. Yeah, and that's before we even get into aspects of self that are outside of time and space. And this is why we can do past life regressions, future life regressions, etc., etc. Many of us astral travel. We remember ourselves, in previous lives. I've had experiences where I've experienced myself as non-physical in higher dimensions, etc. That's because we are existing in all those different dimensions, but this physical body is in a way almost the lowest frequency of all those vibrations, and it's manifested into the third dimension. And through this physical body, we're able to experience the third dimension, and we have our 5 physical senses with which we interact with this dimension and this reality. So back to the chakras and kind of getting a sense of what they are and what their purpose is. So the word chakra is a Sanskrit word, and it means wheel. And we have 7 of these chakras. So if you look above me here, we have these 7 flags in 7 colors. And these colors are not just random colors, pretty colors. They relate to different frequencies of energy. And between them, they cover the full color spectrum. So they're exactly the same colors that you see, for example, in a rainbow, or if you were to shine white light through a prism of glass or water or something like that, and it diffracts into all the different colors. This is the same color spectrum. And this color spectrum is our fuel. This is the energy that gives us life. This is the ki, the chi, the prana. That the ancients talk about And this is our primary fuel. And these 7 chakras, which are located, I can't show you the location of all of them because of the, the camera position and everything, but from the crown, we have a crown chakra, we have a forehead, third eye chakra, ajna. We have a throat chakra down now to the heart chakra, which you can't see. Below that and just below the ribs is the solar plexus chakra. Then the lower belly is the second chakra, the sacral chakra. And the first chakra, so I've done them in reverse order. The first chakra is the root chakra, which is between the legs. And so each of these chakras, you can imagine as a vortex that spins. So when water goes down a hole, like if you have a bath and the water goes down the plug hole, it spins in a vortex and is almost like sucked into this hole. That's how these chakras are. They're like vortexes. And they're spinning and sucking, bringing energy in. And then that energy, once it's within us, our physical bodies, fuels our physical bodies. So why the different colors? Why 7? Because these are the 7 major frequency ranges of the light spectrum. So again, just going back to that rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo and violet. Those are the colors of the rainbow. And they're not just arbitrary colors. Each color is representing a certain frequency of energy, and not just representing it, it is the manifestation of that frequency of energy. And as beings, as physical beings, we need that full spectrum of energy. So you can think of yourself like a cake, for example, and a cake that needs 7 ingredients. And if each of these ingredients is present and all the ingredients are in the correct proportions, when we mix them together, and pop that in the oven, then we're going to have a lovely cake. It's going to look good and it's going to taste good. Now, if some of those ingredients are missing and some are in the wrong proportions, bit by bit, that becomes less and less like the cake that it's meant to be, until eventually, it's not even a cake. And in a way, this is what happens with us if we have chakras that are not functioning as they should do, or maybe chakras that are closed. Occasionally, we have chakras that are spinning in the reverse direction, which means they're actually releasing energy. So we're losing energy through that chakra. So these chakras are meant to be drawing energy in, and in the right proportions for us to be healthy, for us to be a good cake. But yeah, as I say, if some of those are not functioning properly or not functioning at all, or they're losing energy, bit by bit we become, an inedible cake, which is basically sick. So I guess I could leave the video there. I think what would be good just to add there would be, why would a chakra not work? And what can we do about this for ourselves? So, when energy enters us and flows through us, we experience what we call an emotion. So an emotion, the word emotion just means energy in motion. So as energy moves through us, we experience what we call an emotion. So from an energetic perspective, there's no such thing as a good emotion or a bad emotion. It's just energies. But, what we do, and this is where our minds come in, our consciousness and our minds and our self-awareness comes in, which is really what makes us very special as beings. But when we have those when we experience those emotions, we tend to judge those emotions as being either, you know, good emotions or bad emotions, painful emotions, joyful emotions, whatever. Now, if those emotions are what we experience as good emotions, positive emotions, we very rarely have resistance to that. Having said that, it does happen. You know, I've met clients that literally are in resistance to receiving something good. But generally, that isn't the problem. The problem often starts when we experience a challenging emotion. And at the most extreme end of that scale would be, you know, a traumatic situation. And so oftentimes what happens is that we will try to kind of deny, suppress, resist that emotion. Yeah, either through, you know, conditioning, like we shouldn't cry, big boys don't cry, big girls don't cry, or it's not the right time to feel angry, or you know, or whatever it is that challenging emotion is. So there's a suppression of that. So what we're doing when we suppress that emotion is we're literally stopping that energy flow. So that relevant chakra that is bringing in that relevant frequency of energy slows down, and it may even become blocked up. Now, so that's a little bit about how that might happen. I'm not going to get into leaking chakras. I'll give one example of a leaking chakra. So in English we use an expression, bleeding heart. And so a bleeding heart is someone who is, it's almost like they give at their own expense. It's somebody who is almost loving and compassionate to a fault. Yeah, it's almost like they're doing it as some kind of compensation, and that is exactly what's happening. They're compensating often, and this is when we start to get into looking at the chakras, not just individually, but working together, but they're oftentimes compensating something about themselves that they are not necessarily satisfied with, which may be manifesting one of the other chakras, for example, the solar plexus, which is next to the heart chakra. What they're actually doing is they're losing energy through their heart chakra because they're compensating one of the other chakras, and they're compensating maybe this lack of belief in themselves, a lack of self-worth, and they're just giving. And so they're actually losing energy. Yeah, because we want to be conserving our energy. When we collect this energy through our chakras, we don't want to be just wasting that energy. That energy is our energy for life. Yeah, it's for action, it's for thought, it's for communication, all the functions of life. And this is why it's so essential that we conserve our energy and don't waste our energy. Again, that's going to be another talk, another video. So, so what can we do about this? Well, oftentimes, you know, we're kind of self-regulating. So it may be, for example, that we suppress an emotion like sorrow. And then at some point later, whether it's 5 minutes later, 5 hours later, 5 days later, whatever, we'll cry, we'll release it. You know, if we're angry, maybe at some point later, that anger will come out, you know? Or maybe we do something like, I don't know, we play some sports or do something physical, and that allows that energy to release, you know? We can learn so much from animals, can't we? You know, if any of you own a dog, have a pet dog, you'll know that if your dog gets into some kind of like confrontation or there's an intruder or something like that, and it becomes angry or agitated, that once that situation has passed, the dog will shake. And so this is what we need to do. And sometimes I literally, when I'm with a client and some trauma comes up in a session, we'll get up out of our chairs and I'll encourage them to start shaking and shouting and letting that out. So we have these ways that we will oftentimes just kind of naturally release these emotions and bring and that allows the chakras to come back into balance. But also many times that doesn't happen, and if it's a repeating emotion, then that kind of impacts and becomes, what's the word? It kind of becomes more, almost kind of solidified. That's not the word I want, but it becomes really embodied, you know, and this is when we start to get into disease. So, so it's really important that we stay present with our emotions. If we're able just to be with our emotions moment to moment and release, allow those emotions to pass by through us, then this is, you know, really, really, really important for our health. But if we notice that time to time something builds in us, once you've noticed, do something about it. Yeah, some movement, shouting. This is where a lot of very creative people are also very emotional, because those emotions come through the painting. So it may be the artist or the musician or the dancer or the writer. So yeah, just kind of being really present with your emotions and allowing them to flow. I intend to launch soon an online self-healing course. And this is going to play a big part of this self-healing course. So I will keep you up to date with that as soon as that is ready. Also you can go to someone like myself who does this kind of healing work to release those blockages and to balance the chakras. And if that is something that you feel would be, if that kind of resonates and feels like something that you'd like to do or need to do now, please contact me. My email address is below, or send me a message in the chat and I will reply privately. And we can set a session up. So I hope, I think I covered quite a lot there. As I say, we could go much deeper into the chakras. And again, if that's something that you'd like to do, then I'd really encourage you to look at joining me for an online course in Reiki at Reiki Level 1. Or if you're passing by Koh Samui sometime soon, come in and we can do the course in person. And then we kind of dive much deeper into that subject and many other related subjects. But for now, I think I will leave it there. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found that interesting and informative, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you. Namaste.